I'm okay for Okayama. Alright, I was about to say it's been forever since I've driven Okayama, but I just remembered that we did this earlier this season in the Super Formula Lights. I don't know when the last time I drove this, if ever, in the Porsche Cup. Look through my history and I don't see a ton of it. A fair amount in the TCRs, and I think a few times in the GT3s, but it's been a while with a heavier car like that. Was able to get a 131 671. I think the fast guys are going to be in the 30s, mid to low 30s. So we'll see how competitive we are. But I'm going to go through here and show you my quickest lap. I'll go through my thought process while I'm driving the lap, and then we'll come back for some final thoughts.
Sector 1 is a tenth off your pace. That was 131.67. Sector 3 times okay.
Alright, Porsche Cup fixed at Okayama. We've moved our brake bias back to minus 5.5. Best time we were able to get was a 131 671. We're going to go through how we did that now. Start finish straight. Obviously, we're just taking this flat out. Our first braking point is going to be about the 100 marker. I'm kind of using where the 100 marker meets the A pillar as my mental checkpoint to start braking. So there we go. Pretty heavy on this first braking zone. A lot of high-speed braking zones on this track, but we're going to bleed off a lot of speed here. We're going to get down to third. Sometimes, like especially on like the first lap or two, maybe second might be feel a little bit better. I got down to where third felt pretty comfortable, but we're turning in. We've just let off on our brakes slowly as we turned in. Once we got keep going, that's holding that pressure, getting that speed gone in the straight line. And then once we start turning in, we start lifting slowly on that brake. That's our trail braking. So as we turn in, we've got the more wheel we feed in, the more we have to lift off on the brake. So we're just holding that little bit of brake pressure until we can until we've finished rotating the car, and then we can start putting that throttle in. And unwind the wheel, and we put the rest of the throttle in. Just keep the car, pointing a little bit of wheel so we get over to the right-hand side of the track here when we go for the next corner. I don't have a specific braking point, just kind of when we get over to this side is about when we need to start braking a little bit. This is a pretty light brake here, as you see. We just kind of tapped it there, maybe 20%, I think. But we're just gonna tap that, ease off, wait for the car to rotate, and then we can start putting some throttle in. Let me just wait. I was, I think, a little too gumptious, so that's a word, right? Gumptious. Had to lift a little bit there. And then we're back full throttle. And we're just going to keep going full throttle as we go through here. Next braking point is the 100, maybe a little bit after the 100. We're going pretty quick again here. 135. That's weird. But anyway, so yeah, we're gonna brake about the 100 marker here. A little bit after is when I hit the peak. And we're just gonna start easing off. We're gonna get down to second for this corner here. As we see we're turning in. Easing off the brakes. This one is a tricky corner for me. A lot of these are, honestly, but and we'll start, once we get the car rotated around, again, we'll start putting the throttle down. We have to wait until we get the car straightened out before we can, there we go, wheels mostly straight, so we're going to put the full throttle in, and we'll just keep kind of banking the car until we get the rest of the way around the corner. And we're just going to go full throttle through this whole straight. And if you're drafting somebody, you're going to have to brake a little earlier than we do here, just because you're going to be going faster, and that's something I always have to tell myself in these kind of situations. But my braking point, you see all these posts for this fence. There's this one that's a little bit different before the 100 marker. That's kind of what I use for my braking point. For me, the 100's a little bit late. So, brake. I guess we hit the peak over about the 100 marker. So it depends on how your brain works, but that's what works for me. So then we're going to start easing off the brake here. We're going to end up getting down to first. We're downshifting pretty quick, kind of as quick as we can. Get down to first. We're still easing off the brakes. Hold that little brake, bit of brake pressure. That's hard to say. And as we turn in, just going to wait, and then we're going to put a little bit of throttle. Keep turning. And then we'll rotate or finish turning the car and put it down to first. We'll shift up to second pretty quick here. Got to be ready for that. Maybe even a little bit quicker than I did. And we get the car back over to the right hand side of the track and instantly turn in, tap the brakes. This all comes really quick. So you just have to be ready for it. So get over to the right hand side, tap the brakes to get the weight of the car onto the front wheels so that we can turn more efficiently. And we're just going to hold that little bit of brake pressure until we come to the corner here. And then we're going to, once we hit the corner, we're going to start getting on the throttle. There we go. It's a lot of wheel. Unwind the wheel, full throttle. We're going to use a little bit of this track right here. We're going to hit third about when we come up to this. And then we're going to hit the brakes as we come up. You see, I had a oopsie on one lap. We're going to hit the brakes as we approach this curb on the other side of this access road. So brakes. Again, just a little bit. Get the car turned. Hold that little bit of brake pressure. And then as soon as we kind of hit this corner, we're going to get back on the throttle. And then now we can go full throttle. And then it's just full throttle down this straight. Next braking point is going to be the 50-meter marker, but I kind of gauge when my wiper kind of meets the 50 is kind of what I'm thinking. Brake. And we're going to get down to first for this corner. So big heavy brakes. Ease off. Turn in. It's really easy to lock up here. Turn in more as we've let off some of the brakes. Get down to first. Turn in. Hold a little bit of brake pressure. Lots of wheel. And then we're starting to put some throttle in. Unwinding the wheel. I had to lift a little bit. Getting squirrely on me. Now we're full throttle. As we come out. So we're pointing this direction. We're not trying to keep it tight over here, because we can get on the throttle sooner by doing that. So as we let the car come out, we can get on the throttle sooner. And it did get a little squirrely on me. Now we're going to move over to the left a little bit to try and get as much room for our turn in as we can, but we're already on the brakes. So I don't have a braking marker here. It's just kind of when the car is able to do it. So we're just going to hit the brakes. And we're going to downshift to first again to get a little bit extra gearing for the turn in. There we go. First, hold that little bit of brake pressure. We're going to ride the inside of this corner here. And now we're going to put a little bit of throttle in as we come around. Wait until we can straighten out the car. Or the wheel. There we go. We can straighten out the wheel and go full throttle. And probably could have shifted a tiny bit sooner there, I'm guessing. But that was pretty good. And we're going to just tap the brakes for this corner here. The tiniest bit of brake pressure to get the amount of turning that we need. If we just lift, you've got to lift a lot more, and you just tap the brakes here. It just helps get the car turned. And we can get back on the throttle. Full throttle. And then once this green bit ends is kind of the next braking point. So there we go. Hit the brakes. And it's decent, like 40–50%. We're going to start easing off. Get down to second for this corner here. Just a little bit of brake pressure as we bring the car the rest of the way around. It can get real squirrely here. So we're just going to start putting some throttle in. And then we'll track out all the way to the left here. And there we go. Full throttle the rest of the way. We got ourselves a 131.671. So yeah, like I said, been a while since we've driven this car at Okayama, if ever, or a heavier car anyway. I know it's tough to pass here, so we'll see. Hopefully we can qualify well and then keep our place and not like goof up and spin or anything like that. We'll see. I'm hoping for some good races. I think this is suited a little bit more to the car than Scuba was, but like I said, we'll see. If you enjoyed the video, thumbs up. If you didn't, I get that too. And if you think I earned it, hit the subscribe button. We'll see you next time. Bye.